So here is a molecule and we want to make this molecule using the Malonic Ester synthesis. And so before we dig into the retrosynthetic scheme for this particular example, let's think in general what the Malonic Ester synthesis is all about. For any kind of Malonic Ester synthesis, we are going to start with, well, the malonic ester. In this case, that is going to be diethyl malonate. Then, in a series of enolization and alkyl substitution reactions, we are going to add one or maybe two alkyl groups to it, after which point we are going to do the decarboxylation reaction. So one of our ester groups, let's say the one to the right, is going to be completely gone, while the other ester will be converted into the carboxylic acid instead. Which means that in this very generic example that I have on the screen right now, I'm going to end up with a, well, equally generic carboxylic acid looking like this. But the important thing here to keep in mind is that the only things that are going to be the leftover from our original malonic ester is going to be the carbonyl itself and the alpha position, that carbon of the alpha position. So this way, if I'm going to look back at my target molecule that I have here, I have my carboxylic acid right over here, so that is my carboxylic acid functional group, so that part came from the original malonic ester. I also have this alpha carbon over here right next to my carbonyl. That carbon also came from my malonic ester. However, I've made a new carbon-carbon bond right over here at the alpha position and another new carbon-carbon bond right over there. So this methyl group that I have on top, the CH3, that is going to be one of my R groups, and the allyl group that I have on the other side over here, that is my second R group. So using the retrosynthetic approach that I have just demonstrated over here, what we are going to do, well, let's start by redrawing our molecule. Here we go. And the very first thing that I am going to do, I will remind myself that the alpha position over here used to have this second ester that used to be attached to it, which means that the predecessor to our molecule was an ester looking like this, or something similar to it, where one ester group, let's say this one, it actually doesn't matter which one, but let's say this one is what going to make our carboxylic acid over here, while the other ester is what we're going to lose during the decarboxylation step. Now the ethyl group that I have over here and over here for my ester, those guys are completely irrelevant. I could have used any ester I wanted. It can be an ethyl group, methyl group, propyl group, you name it. Really doesn't matter. I use the ethyl group here just because it's very common, so why not? And so now, looking back at my ester, I can redraw it in a slightly better way that kind of looks more like the malonic ester that we are used to seeing. So now we can clearly see that we have an alkyl group number 1, our methyl group, and we have an alkyl group number 2, which is going to be our allyl group. So now, when we have the outline of our retrosynthetic analysis, we can complete our synthesis starting from the malonic ester. So step number 1 is going to be to take our malonic ester and enolize it with a base that is matching the alkyl group of our ester itself, giving me my corresponding enolate. Next, I'm going to introduce one of my groups. Generally speaking, it really doesn't matter which group we are going to introduce first, so let's say my first electrophile here is going to be my methyl iodide. So the nucleophilic enolate that I have just formed is going to react with my methyl iodide, giving me my first alkylation product. Then, from this point, we are going to re-enolize our molecule, making a new enolate which is very similar to what we had before, and we are now going to introduce our second electrophile, which in this case is going to be my allyl bromide, although the halide here doesn't really matter all that much. So like in the previous case, my nucleophile going to go ahead and react with my electrophile, adding the second alkyl group to my molecule, and the only thing that is left for us now to get our final product, our target molecule, is to do the hydrolysis and decarboxylation. As I've mentioned in my video on the malonic ester synthesis, there are two different ways how we can accomplish that, so what I'm going to do here, I will use the mixed method where I will first do the saponification reaction in basic media and then neutralize that and do the decarboxylation in acidic media, which will effectively take one of the ester groups and get rid of that and convert the second ester into the corresponding carboxylic acid, giving us our target molecule. Pretty easy. Now, how about this example? If we pay any attention to the functional groups that we have in this molecule, this is not a carboxylic acid at all. The functional group that we have over here is an amide, and we know that the malonic ester synthesis gives the carboxylic acids. Well, that is not actually an issue because we can easily make amides from carboxylic acids. Or rather, I should say we can make amides from acid chlorides, which we can make from carboxylic acids. So the predecessor to this amide was the corresponding acid chloride, and this acid chloride came from the carboxylic acid. So to go from the carboxylic acid to acid chloride to do this transformation, we are typically going to use SOCl2 thionyl chloride in pyridine, and then to go from the acid chloride to the amide, we're going to use two equivalents of our dimethylamine to get the final product here. So now when we have our carboxylic acid, we are essentially rephrasing our question. We are rephrasing it to how can we make this carboxylic acid using the malonic ester synthesis. Well, in this case, like in the case before, we are going to point a very close attention to what we have sitting on this alpha carbon. And on our alpha carbon, we have a benzyl group. So this is our R group. This is what we are going to be adding to the enolate that we are going to make from our malonic ester. And since we already know that the R group here is going to be a benzyl group with some sort of a leaving group sitting on it, let's say it's going to be some sort of a bromide or something like that, we can easily complete our synthesis right away. So I'm going to start with my malonic ester, diethyl malonate. Step number 1 is going to be the enolization, where our base is going to come in and deprotonate our molecule right in the middle, making the corresponding enolate. Then, the next step, we are going to take our alkyl halide. We already know how that guy is going to look like, so I'm just going to copy it right over here, and we're going to have our SN2 reaction, where our nucleophilic enolate going to react with our electrophilic alkyl halide, displacing our leaving group and making the following molecule, where the new bond that we have just made is right over here. So since we only needed to add one R group, the only thing that we have left at this point is to do our decarboxylation, and to keep things fresh, I'm going to use a pure acidic decarboxylation in this case. So first we're going to hydrolyze our esters to the corresponding carboxylic acids, then one of those is going to go away, let's say the one on the right side, the other one is going to be converted into the corresponding carboxylic acid, ultimately giving us our target intermediate, and then from that point we already know how to convert that into our amide, which is going to be our target molecule, our final product. So I'm just going to say that step number 1 here is going to be thionyl chloride, SOCl2, in the presence of pyridine, and our step number 2 is going to be excess, or at least 2 equivalents of dimethylamine, giving us our target molecule, our final product for this synthesis. So just because you don't see the carboxylic acid right away does not actually mean that you could not use the malonic ester synthesis. Since you already know a bunch of different functional group transformations, you can always use the malonic ester synthesis to make molecules that contain other functional groups, which you can ultimately get from your carboxylic acid. And finally, I have another fun-looking molecule here for you. Again, this is not a carboxylic acid. The functional group that we have over here is a ketone. So can we make it via the malonic ester synthesis? Well, actually yes, we can. But instead of the malonic ester synthesis, we are going to be using the acetoacetic synthesis, which is the brother of malonic ester synthesis, and the only difference is that instead of the malonic ester starting material, we are going to use a molecule where one side is a ketone, and that specific starting material is commonly called acetoacetic ester. So whenever you need to make a ketone, this is your guy. Now, the idea here is going to be the same. We're going to look at our alpha position and see what type of a group is attached to our alpha position. So in this case, our R group is going to be this guy on the left side, which means that the alkyl halide that I'm going to be using is going to look something like that. So instead of my X, let's say I'm going to put bromine, just like I did in the previous example. And so the overall synthetic approach here is going to be like in the previous case. We are going to start with the enolization step. So I'm going to use sodium ethoxide to pull off one of the protons in the middle position over here, making my resonance stabilized enolate nucleophile. Then I shall bring my electrophile, my alkyl halide. Those two species are going to react with each other, like in the previous case. We're going to make a new carbon-carbon bond between these two carbons over here, giving me the following intermediate where my new bond is right over here between those carbons that I indicated a moment ago. And so the last bit that is left for us here is to get rid of this ester via the decarboxylation reaction. So like in one of my previous examples, I'm just going to use here a purely acidic decarboxylation, effectively getting rid of this ester group over here, giving us our final product looking like this. Or if you like, we can unwind this molecule into a more linear structure. So my atoms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, looking like this. So as you can see, the malonic ester synthesis is a very versatile and powerful synthetic approach that can give you a huge variety of molecules. So the only thing that is left for you now is to hit that like button, subscribe for future updates, do a ton of practice, and I will see you next time.